There we go.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Do I have a motion to convene into executive session?
Motion to convene to get executive session. Approval of executive session minutes of March 3rd, 2026. Update STA teachers negotiation pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A2 collective bargaining. Update on ESP custodian negotiation pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A2 collective bargaining. Approval of executive session minutes of March 30th, 2026 pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A1, job performance of a person who has been notified in advance in writing and advised that they may require that discussion be held at an open session meeting. STA teachers negotiation pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A2 collective bargaining. Update of ESP custodian negotiations pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A2 collective bargaining, and potential litigation, Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A2.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Chris, are we ready online? The first thing I'd like to do is stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to report out that in executive session, we took 2 votes, and those votes were to approve the minutes from March 3rd and the minutes of March 30th. Now I'd like to move on to some really exciting news, and that is the approval of the superintendent's contract and appointment. The school committee has completed their superintendent search and is pleased to make a formal announcement to appoint Linda Savastano as Scituate's next superintendent. I would like to embarrass her for a little bit. Over the course of her career, Linda has held key leadership roles, including superintendent of South Kingston Public Schools, assistant superintendent in middle school public schools, executive director of data counseling and instruction in Providence Public Schools, the strategic planning and performance specialist at the Rhode Island Department of Education. She began her career as a high school mathematics and computer science teacher and later served as a technology integration and district technology leader, grounding her work in both classroom practice and educational technology. Linda holds a master's of science in computing technology and education and a certificate of advanced graduate studies in educational leadership. In addition to superintendent certifications in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, she currently is pursuing a doctorate of education in educational leadership at the University of Massachusetts, where her research focus is on improving mathematics outcomes for students with disabilities. Here are some of the things that her peers have said about her. Linda is a creative problem solver. She listens closely to needs of her students, teachers, and families. She always keeps what's best for students at the core of her decision-making. She is masterful at creating new systems and structures. She is a caring, passionate, compassionate, extremely intelligent, and hardworking individual, is always positive and professional, a true team player who is eager to learn, leads with vision, integrity, and unwavering commitment to equity and excellence for all students, encourages open communication, embraces diverse perspectives, and builds strong relationships, creates a sense of unity and shared purpose, leads with grace, optimism, and professionalism, infuses new ideas and meaningful improvements into her day-to-day efforts, and seeks consistent feedback. And just to round it out, Linda will assume the role of superintendent effective July 1st, 2026, and she'll continue to lead the district as the acting assistant superintendent until that date. And now, do a plant for your office. Thank you. Thank you. Report. Thank you. There's more. We got a first flag. Are we here? Yeah. Yes. Good. And of course, it has to be, that's at the saloon. We'll put these out front. I don't know where to put these.
How about behind her?
Yeah,
How about behind?
Yeah.
Be a little bit of yeah, that's not going to distract. Distract.
Thank you. Of course. And do you have somebody here?
Is it okay if I say a tiny? But this is like my most hearing things about myself is my most uncomfortable. And probably, so there's only up to go from here. I do want to thank you. I want to thank the school committee. I want for your trust and the opportunity. I am honored by your confidence and deeply grateful, and I have been since November 18th. I over the last couple months, we've navigated a period that has required focus, resilience, and shared commitment to our students. Um, I had to like really think about this. So I'm going to read it, which is not normally what I do, but it matters. The people that have really lifted to work together matter. So in addition to the school committee and their leadership, which is amazing, I remain indebted to our building and district administrators for their leadership um, through this really complex and critical time. I also have to, my husband and my family and friends, not only for their unwavering support recently, but just like a sheer belief in me, more so than I ever can believe in myself. Also to our entire amazing staff, the students, the families, the community partners, with who the collaboration has made the last couple of months possible. And so now, as I like really have reflected to look ahead, I do feel like I'm doing so with a clear sense of purpose and a strong commitment to what does lie ahead of us. Together, I know that our collective efforts will work to strengthen our systems, will stay grounded in this continuous improvement journey that we've been on to always ensure what's best for every student. It is truly a privilege to serve this community. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. A responsibility that I hold with the greatest of respect. And I remain committed to being accessible, to being collaborative, and tirelessly advocating for our students. And I look so forward to what we will all accomplish together. And thank you for embarrassing me, but thank you for your gracious, kind words, and for making this so special.
Linda, I just want to add just maybe two quick pieces, and Erica hit on all of this. Thank you, first and foremost, for picking us. We picked you, but thank you. We couldn't have had a worse start as far as the way we brought you here, what was happening. Many people that were sitting there were ready to, what are you people doing? We haven't even interviewed. We were in crisis. And Erica, there was due diligence on Erica's part, not the way we would prefer to hire somebody. But you came to us and you hit the ground running. At that school committee meeting, before I even knew what your name was or who was coming, I had promised the parents and all the stakeholders that this is not how school committees hire people, but we are in crisis and we needed to do what we needed to do to have a superintendent certified person come into our, and promise that there would be due diligence in finding the permanent candidate. Very shortly after, you still uncomfortable? You like this, huh? I'm just gonna go on. I'm gonna keep going on. No, I'm not. I'm gonna wrap it up as quick as I can. But from the moment you stepped foot in this district, you had no idea. I think we signed you here for till June, maybe, or whatever it was. But you came in like this was your place, and it didn't make a difference if you were interim, if you were here. I think most importantly, you never took anything for granted. You showed us that you wanted to be here. You showed us that if you guys had the opportunity, she had a bound presentation for her resume that read like a book. Quite impressive. But it was this tiny little piece and that was made specifically for the application to this position. Linda took none of this for granted. So we are forever grateful. I think just so everyone knows, we talked about approving her contract. It's a 3-year contract. If we could have given her a 30-year contract, we could have, but 3 is the max. And I can just, very excited for the things that are going to come in this district. So thank you for coming and jumping. And my apologies to your husband. We haven't met yet, but I promise we'll get her back to you at some time. It's just it's truly amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I do want to say one thing, want to add to this, what Colleen was just all saying, that when you came to us and during the process of hiring you, you said to us, I believe it was during, it might have been during the interview, she's like, I come with calmness and experience. And that's what we needed. And I think it was perfect. It summed everything up and it just stuck with me. I said, you can come with all the words that you needed to give us that day during that time during the interview. But I says those two words is what really meant a lot and really summed everything up. And I think Scituate did need calmness and you brought that to us. Thank you. Yep.
Now that we got the fun part over, we have actually more fun stuff.
So would you like me to make a motion?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to take out of order a discussion action vote for the collective bargaining agreement between the Scituate School Committee and NEARI, Scituate Teachers Association.
Second.
Hold on. We didn't.
You need to have a, are you gonna have a vote on the contract?
We're going to vote on it now.
Oh, hers.
Oh, you?
No, well, yeah. Huh. She wants us to really do. But just put a hold on that out of order.
This is why we have our attorney at the table. I got too excited. Do I have a motion to accept the contract for Linda Savastano as our new superintendent?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sean. And now we can move out of,
Do we still have to call you acting assistant? Twice removed. We're gonna just refer to you as Superintendent Savastano. Okay, you are a superintendent and you're here if that's okay with you. Or
You can see what.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I forget where we were in the last
I made
motion.
a motion to take out of order. We had a second. All those in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so this is for the new business. First item, this is for the teachers' contracts so that teachers don't have to stay here and they can go home and come back and come to work. I want to,
Do you want to make the motion and then we'll?
I can do that.
Yes,
I'll
please.
make them, so I don't forget to make the motion. I make a,
You make it because you did the big one.
I make a motion to accept the collective bargaining agreement between the Scituate School Committee and the NEARI Teachers, Scituate Teachers Association.
Second. So moved. You get a second.
Now I need a second.
I'll second that.
She seconded.
Any discussion?
That's what you
I
said.
do want to say that the teachers have been nothing but amazing and patient and understanding. It is April and we started this June and they know that we've gone through change. They know that we've gone through a whole new administration and they didn't complain, or if they didn't percolate up here. They were just understanding and just working together for the best of the students and it was recognized and I acknowledged it. And I was really grateful and impressed by it. So thank you to all the teachers who were patient with us because we asked for patience and you gave it to us and we thank you for that. Does anyone else want to say anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again. That brings us to the consent agenda. They have a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion to consent to approve the consent agenda. Right, not this. Minutes from March 3rd and March 30th, 2026. The bills, general fund bills, $531,310.82. Nutrition fund bills, $24,824.21. And grant fund bills, $750.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we have the presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to North Scituate. Today, I am going to be presenting about our school. We are the largest elementary school in Scituate, but I find them to be the best. No offense, Clayville and Hope. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So as part of this, we want to look at our data. So this slide here is showing us that we are a 3-star school. How do we get there? The state takes our data for ELA, math, and science RICAS. That's with achievement as well as growth. And based on 2 years of data, it assigns a certain number of points for that. When we look at the student success factors, whether that's chronic absenteeism, chronic absenteeism, suspension rates, et cetera, that is 1 year at a time. So when you first look at this, obviously you're going to be drawn to these areas. So particularly in red, that growth in ELA is one area of focus. And tied into that is our ELA. The Rhode Island Department of Education does provide principals with the calculator that actually shows us how close we are to earning those points. So I called out here what happened last year. Was not a great year for us. We had 48 students that were low growth, and they are weighted as a 0, so they don't count towards us. Students that have typical growth are weighted as 1, and students that have high growth are weighted as 2. So as you can see on, let's see if this, it doesn't work on there. We went from 27 students that were high growth to 8 last year. And so because of that, we only earned 1 point. Now, like I said, this is a 2-year trend. So this 2025 data will live with us next year. We're working really hard, and you'll see the work that we're doing at North Scituate to improve our ELA performance, but that data will live with us for next school year. And after that is when it will drop off. So you'll see here, this is our current star growth levels. So one other thing that I want to point out is that growth is only our 4th and 5th graders because we need something to compare to. So 3rd graders don't take RICAS before, this is their first time, so they have nothing to compare to, so they don't get growth. So we're taking a small elementary school already, and now we're taking just 2 grades from it. But this looks more like our year 2024 RICAS, where we have about 35 students that are making high growth so far this year, about 20 students with typical and then 28 students with low growth. So we're seeing movement in that way. We also saw a drop in our overall achievement in RICAS. We went from 52% to about 36% in 1 year. One note, anecdotally, they did change our software last year, and if students paused their tests, they weren't allowed to go back to anything that they had already seen before. And this was the first time that they had experienced that. So it's anecdotal. I'm not saying that technology is the only reason for that, but it's just something to keep in the back of our brain that last year there was a new platform that we had to get used to. This year, we actually completed it this week. We did a technology check to make sure our Chromebooks are all set. And we also did a practice RICAS in the system itself this week. So we're preparing them to actually take the test. We want them to show us what they know with ELA, not necessarily how well they use the computer. I also my brain, I always look for trends. And so data that you're going to see here is 5 years. So we're looking at our post-COVID year of 21-22 up to 24-25. And I'm starting with the good news, so that's great. Reading literature tends to be our strength area. So you can see our NSES average over the years is above 66%. This is an area of strength. And just to bring it home, I wanted to show you what this actually looks like on the assessment. So this is what a RICAS question is. Based on the passage, what is the most likely reason Lester Rennett recommends the paper keyboard? And there are the options there. So the students would be selecting the correct answer. We also perform well on our language standards. You can see again, very similar to the reading literature. Here's a sample of that. Read the paragraph 46 in the box. Welcome, cried the local bicycle clubs. What does the exclamation point at the end of the paragraph suggest? This one is from 3rd grade. Reading informational text. We started off around 70%, now we're in the 56%. So this is very similar to reading literature, but this is more nonfiction texts. So for example, based on the passage, what does paragraph 3 and 4 mainly show? And then the students would answer those options. This is one that we did well on. I believe I included one that we didn't do so well on. So this one you can see is a little bit more wordy. In Beneath the Streets of Boston, how are paragraph 1 and 12 connected? And so it gives them the sentence to read. But the main area that we see our need in at North Scituate is on our writing. Last year, we only earned 34% of the points available in writing itself. And throughout the last 5 years, that continues to be a struggle. This is a sample of what the essays could look like. This is 5th grade based on Bridges and Tunnels and Beneath the Streets of Boston. Write an essay that explains how engineers and workers address the many challenges of tunnel building. Be sure to use information from both passages to develop your essay. So they're looking at 2 different texts to craft an essay. And this is after answering about 10 to 12 multiple choice questions. They're writing an essay, and then they're answering more multiple choice questions. It's estimated to be about 2 hours worth of time. So that was 5th grade. This is 4th grade based on the jungle fowl in the fairy teacup. Write an essay that describes the relationship between Min and Grandpa. So again, they're writing essays at that grade level. And I believe this one was 3rd grade based on the wind in his mustache. Write an essay that explains how George overcomes the challenges he experiences on his journey. That one was actually 5th grade, so I got my grades swapped. So this is just showing you what tasks our students are being asked to do on those assessments. This is our RICAS data from the winter. This was done in January, and we're focusing in on grades 3, 4, and 5 since those are our tested subjects. Last year, we were at about 36% of students that were proficient, and this is projecting about 52%, so an increase overall. And it does give us data for our earlier grades as well. Our leadership team has taken a look at this. This is called a fishbone activity. We facilitated this with our school improvement team. We basically looked at different areas of our school and what we can control and what we wanted to work on. One of the main ones is looking at professional learning for teachers and providing meaningful academic experiences, I'll call it, or instructional activities for students, which is looking at a writing program. But we are laser focused on our writing at North Scituate. We also have math here. We did earn 2 points, and science was a strength for us. Just want to call out that same thing that we were talking about with math before, or ELA before. We did have an increase in the number of students that were in that level 4 category, and we're very close to earning 3 points in math achievement. We do have a math interventionist at North Scituate. We did visit her room during the tour, and this year she's done excellent work with our staff. She pulls students out, but also pushes in and works with our students throughout the day. This year, we're really focusing on our cuspy students, is what we refer to them as. Those are the students that are in that needs improvement category that are close to meeting expectations. So we're making sure that we're giving students the support that they need. Right around here, we were at 47.6% overall proficiency in math. And at this point in the year, our math results are at 55%. So improving according to STAR over last year. One thing I do want to point out with the ELA, our STAR does not include writing. So that is focusing specifically on reading literature and reading informational texts. So we do that separate from STAR. We do our own internal writing tasks. And we did a similar fishbone activity here where we're looking at professional learning as well as small group instruction. So one of the, I'm jumping ahead, but we are working with an outside consultant right now on small group instruction in math. It is somebody that Linda has worked with in the past, and she works with our teachers. We did one full day with her in person, and then she's been working with them virtually. And at this point, we're looking at upcoming lessons. We're unpacking them and planning the small group instruction that the students will do with that expert. And that'll be on Friday after 2 days of RICAS testing. We also have our science proficiency. I just want to call out that last year we had no students not meeting expectations, which is great. And our RICAS, that should say grade 5, not 3 to 5. Apologies on that. We did have about 22% of students that were exceeding. Similarly, we use a curriculum program called Mystery Science, and most of our leadership team has focused in on increasing our professional learning, looking at other curriculum programs that would be green rated.
Can you go back to
Yep.
and just that? So this is saying that 51% of students are not proficient in science, which were the numbers for, that's not what I think I saw on the previous slide.
It's not working anymore, Chris.
It's a,
Okay,
maybe one
All right.
more.
I'm going the wrong way.
It's a,
So 40, it was 48.8. We're proficient. Right next to the green.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, I get it.
Yep.
Okay.
So that was, or we put it as why we're 51% of students not meeting, or
Not.
excuse me, yeah, why we're 51% of students not meeting versus 49% meeting. So we're about 50-50
Right.
last year. So when we look at our professional learning as a learning community, we're focusing on 2 areas, ELA and writing. We were looking at the writing tasks that were released by RICAS, and our students actually that did RICAS last year looked at their essay results that they wrote. So the students that wrote a sentence were able to reflect on that last year. Does that truly represent what they could do? And they rewrote their essays to do that. They were also given other various RICAS questions that were given before. And we're slowly, gradually releasing that accountability. So the first time you walk them through it, then they're working on it more independently as they go through. Because on the test, that it is unprompted. They are given a computer and they're expected to write. We did mention small group instruction with math. That's our focus for for math. We have a strong multi-tiered systems of support system here at North Scituate. Our math interventionist is the coordinator. We work to ensure students take our STAR assessments and our curriculum-based measures, which are small tasks. It could be adding up to 100 or multiplication, and looking at that and determining which students require additional support. Our paraprofessionals are, their schedules are strategic so that they're working with students during small group time. There you saw, or I didn't point it out, but we have a para workroom with copiers in it. They're not in that room all day long. They're working with small groups of students. Our interventionists push in or pull out students depending on what their needs are. We continue to review curriculum, best practices, and standard alignment. And this, at this point, we do have a Learn 365 after school program with, I believe, 8 or 9 clubs going, one of them being math, an outdoor recycling club. I forgot to point it out in the hallway, but one of our clubs is an art club that's painting a mural on the wall using geometric shapes and math that will end up saying North Scituate. So it's really we're using those funds to teach in math, but at the same time, improve our school community. Some of our strengths last year were in reducing chronic absenteeism and our suspension rate. We earned 3 points. 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 This is our current data for this year. Our overall number of days is down about 4%. So that's that 1,700 star that I have there. 4% less individual number of days. And our chronic absenteeism last year was 10%, and this year is 10%. So we're about the same. And here's my 11-minute video about North Scituate.
Oh my God, so cute. We lost the audio. It's so cute.
Be a star student.
There we go. Oh.
Great.
Share teams.
Hmm.
They have teams. They have teams.
I'm gonna send you one more, which is gonna feel a little bit different. This I just sent you another one. I will share it with you. None of it's working. Oh, they can hear it at home. Oh, I think their volume is just really low. There is a difference between the music and the adults. No? Okay. Thanks, Chris. You just got to be ready to turn it down when it gets to the intro.
Kindergarten, second, first, third, and fourth. Fifth grade showed to everyone else, fourth showed to the low, and third showed to second, first, and kindergarten. I'm here for each trimester, we drop our last year, homework, lunch orders, mailboxes, mailboxes, they all have their jobs, responsibilities for each Hi, I'm the student council president at Scituate Elementary School. In the student council, we plan fundraisers, food donations, and spirit weeks to help the school feel together as one community. Well, the students at Scituate Elementary School show leadership in younger students by doing reading buddies, sometimes younger class students. Also by delivering fruit to classes, go to student council, go to street fit classes, and student council shows that, shows leadership.
I guess the adults don't want to go. I know. I didn't mean to. That was one of the cute ones.
So, how the teachers and parents help with younger. And it's going to face. They told me present by good work, wisdom, passion, with states, all wisdom subjects by our sides. PBIS is a monthly reward for students who earn stars. And if you have these stars, you have them to your teacher to get the reward, like income or stuff. Well, we have to be respectful, responsible, nice and learn, and try to be kind to others and treat others how we want. At the end of the month, PBIS and send quarterly score. Some incentives are like taping Western Alabama Ball and game day and dunking a teacher and black light and bingo. We also like school store. You could get study pass, homework pass, and for like 15 you could get back. Or Scituate and like the teachers, because like they're very nice and understanding and like they help you with like not it. My favorite thing about school is being with my friends and doing math, reading, and paper. I like these subjects because they're easy to follow. What makes me proud of my school is to see the teachers and students come together to always find a solution to everything. If it's like a teacher being proud of a student being happy of the teacher's decision, I like to see them be proud of each other. I love how educated I am and how safe it is. Because I get to see my friends every day and my teacher is the best and I love learning. Because this place is constant. It's really close to our house. My school because I get to eat. It is delicious. I like this school because I love all of the teachers in this school. All of the teachers are nice to them. I like this school because I like the teachers. They help us learn. I love my school because I have the schools. Friends and teachers. I have my show because I love everything.
I love working in our elementary school because the close knit community between both teachers and students. I love coming to our Scituate school every day, and students do too. After a weekend or vacation or even a blizzard, students frequently will say things like, "I'm happy today because I'm at school," or "I'm happy because we're back at school." Our schools have a positive, happy vibe, 35 about it, and here students and adults genuinely care about each other. North Central Elementary School has the most nurturing staff I've ever heard of. Districts and North Central far the best. Honestly, the biggest reason I would work should I do? Students, staff, and families truly are as one team alongside each other with one common goal, which is student success. One of those places where you do at the end of the day, you just feel like part of it. What do I like about working at North Scituate? Definitely my staff and people that I collaborate with on a daily basis. They support, and no matter what's going on, if I need help, if I need support, whether it's art teacher, the math teacher, the media person, front office staff, everybody's always willing to help and support each other in a positive way. It just takes coming to our district and enjoying what you're doing.
Apologies for the tech issues there. Not sure what happened with that one. Am I good to start going or no? There we go. Some things that we didn't capture on here. We've been doing family trivia, which we had Disney, we had Harry Potter, we had holiday. We most recently had sports trivia. We have anywhere from about 20 to 50 participants that come, and it's just a great night for families to come together. We also started a program this year where twice a month we recognize students for being star students, and they get to call their parents and tell them that they were picked for being respectful, responsible, and ready to learn. And I did get a phone call recently from a mom because she didn't answer, so we left a voicemail. So she has that voicemail forever of her kids saying, "Hey, mom, it's our student. We're so excited." And so she ended up calling back saying, "Thank you so much for that voicemail. She's going to cherish it forever." But at this point, we've gotten through a lot of our families, and we just want to recognize the great things that our students are doing. So I oftentimes will start the call, but some of our older students and even some of the younger students want to be the ones to give the good news. So they say, "Hi, Mom, it's me. I'm star student." And our teachers write a little note saying why they were selected. So it's a great program that we're running. We also have different PBIS incentives. There's me duct taped to the wall my first month here. We also had a mad scientist come in. We did some trick or treating in the school. And Miss Scutchis was one of our bingo callers for our school-wide bingo the other week. So she did a great job with that. And we're also doing assemblies. Recently, we had the PTO sponsored this, the whale and dolphin conservation. The students got to go inside of the North Atlantic right whale and see the internal organs as well as bones. That table there also has all the different teeth and physical bones that were there. And there was also another coloring/story station. We also had Buona Iguana come in, so students got to see and feel some reptiles. We're also running our 365 clubs. This is where I said we've got about 9 going right now with our outdoor recycling. Yoga is before school. We have some scratch coding, a chess club for our younger kids. Our older kids, we have another art club, Math Matters, an early art club, robotics, chess, and we're partnered with the Scituate Library across the street, and they come over, and we have 4 students that are in a book club with her. And there's our student council. Ready for any questions? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cal. That brings us to, I'll just say Linda's report.
you. Thank you. I'm going to quickly go through the monthly update. I'll share, this is available in a attachment off of our school committee agenda, and I'm not going to read it word for word as I've been doing each month, but just highlight some very important aspects. For example, our Alice crisis and response planning and training. Just I wanted to call out, since we've last met, we had our professional learning day with our educators on March 27th, where we were able to utilize our recently trained Alice instructors that are now here locally to then train all of our teachers in our training. So our middle and high school had 4 hours of Alice training, and our elementary had 2, and all will have additional time in their buildings. And I'm going to just kind of jump ahead, if anybody is following along on the report itself, to talk a little more about the professional learning day. Just on March 27th, we did this kind of combined on professional learning community work and our Alice response training. But what I want to really share is we had about 110 folks respond back on feedback, and the feedback has been outstanding, including the response about our Alice training. So it's been a bit of a relief. It was a big hurdle for us this first round. We know we have additional work to do with Alice. We're of course have to work with our paras, our custodians, our secretarial staff did attend and were trained, and a few other folks did attend that day. But we know that moving forward into next school year, including students and working with the larger community, bus drivers, monitors, food services, all will additionally be trained as well. And then also sharing, while talking about the rest of the professional learning day, in terms of feedback, the day was what I'm kind of like reiterating the comments. It was described as one of the most meaningful professional learning experiences in recent years, with a strong appreciation for organization, the relevance, and the focus on both the student learning and school safety. So, so I appreciate the grace that everybody showed, and really the energy and participation of the day, despite what can be a challenging topic, was very successful. Another topic I want to give everybody an update on is the Northwest Special Education Regional Planning. So I know each month I've been sharing out, I've been working with the superintendent from Foster Gloucester and Gloucester, and also Brad, our director of special education, to work on an agreement. So we met recently, and I feel like we are making significant progress. The goal is to bring an agreement to you at the next meeting. And essentially the outline of that would be having an executive committee, of course, of the superintendents with oversight, having a model that supports the financial and operations management that would remain with Foster Gloucester where it is today. Having the framework for shared services that's grounded in leadership, administrative support around the lens of like the census, which is required in the state of Rhode Island to manage the data and report that. It's an inordinate amount of data that we manage for our special education, and to report that to the Department of Ed. That's essentially managing all of the IEPs, the individual education plans for our students. And then, and so that would be done under this collaborative group. And then also early childhood programming and our ESY coordination, and looking at the kind of funding formula breakdown for it, if you will, the split to be something that would be a hybrid approach, looking at not just total enrollment, but also our special education population. Historically, it has been broken out on the total enrollment. So we're trying to think about that in a little more creative way. And then what we would do is bring forward an agreement to you, but then on an annual basis, look at calling it like an annual service plan. So you could see the specifics on the item. So for example, if we'd be sharing a director, and so you would see what that split would look like, again, based upon that formula that we're using. So we'd list out all the staff that this is impacting and then the kinds of services that it would provide. The current, I just want to make clear, the current collaborative ends in June because while we did vote to stay in it, no one else has. With that said, I feel strongly that, and Renee, the superintendent there, knows, like, this is what I was sharing with you all. We have common talking points every time we meet. And so we know that we're on the right path to stay together. And financially and for our children, it is the right path to be on. I am also talking with John Anderson, our legal, and updating him. So it's not just bringing forward, here's an agreement, shocker, you have, and bringing that to you all. So over the next 4 weeks, we'll be in touch so that when you do see something at the next meeting, it's not, hopefully not, it's something that we've been growing with the breadcrumb approach of informing you each month of the update. I also wanted to quickly just let everybody know that Department of Education has reached out and said that we have met our requirements for this school year for the Right to Read Act, which is required by law. So we've formally been notified of that. In addition, we're working on a is this? Thank you. We are working on a pre-K grant to work on expanding our pre-K to full day, and we'll be updating you more on that at the next meeting. In addition, just a little plug, our kindergarten registration has opened, and there are flyers around town. Hopefully everybody's seeing those, and we're excited for our new kindergarten class that's coming in for next year. We'll keep you updated as we have our registrations for that with the numbers. In addition, we are right in the middle of our state assessment season. So time to celebrate our learning. And I'm appreciative of all the leadership and the hard work that goes into those administrations, and to our teachers and the proctors and all the administration that goes on with that, and also our families for making sure everybody's getting to bed early and eating their good breakfast before they come in for that celebration of their learning. In addition, the Hope School Improvement Team, some folks from Hope will be going on a field trip to look at some small learning community models in Cranston. So we're going to visit Garden City Elementary School and see really kind of what this looks like for us. I think it's important for us to see some really, at the end of the day, like I'm going to say, we know a lot more about learning than we did when I went to school. And so it's important for us to understand that today's learners do look different than they did 10, 20, 30 years ago. And so I'm excited for this field trip and excited for the kinds of items that I'm sure the Hope team will come up with, and we'll keep you up to date on that.
You did a very good job last night at the budget committee meeting. So that was a point that came up, and there's some monies that are allocated for learning communities, and it's just different. And to try and explain that, if there's a possibility, if there are not students included in these spaces, to bring back some video that we could possibly share, that would, I think it's really a visual piece that
It
you need
is.
to help everyone understand.
We can do that. And in fact, Garden City is already, they have some video available that they're letting us look at in advance, and we can share that out. I will actually link that off of when I do my monthly newsletter for this month for the larger community. Thank you for that. I love that. Along with, I want to share, and this is up later in a vote, and maybe we won't have to I'll just again, maybe give a little more information now, not that we, of course, will discuss later, but what I am asking and what we've been talking about is around our facilities as we think about learning community, but as we think about a lot of the projects we have is having an owner's project manager, an OPM, they're often called, or a project manager that can help us with the organization of some smaller projects and some larger projects. And so I, again, have in my report, but I want to give it justice and just ask for your patience. For those who kind of think project management and don't, I didn't understand it. So I think that's why I want to be thoughtful about explaining this. Once I've kind of lived in a district with this work, I realize how it can actually, up front, we say like, oh, we're going to pay a little more money for this service, but we actually save money in the long run because projects get done faster. We get better reimbursement because we have educated folks stepping us through the work. So it's a qualified professional or firm that we would utilize to represent our interests throughout a construction or a capital improvement project. They would act as our agent, providing oversight, planning, design, procurement, construction to ensure projects are completed on time, within budget, and compliance with regulations. So when I think about it here, a couple different things come to mind. For example, the Hope roof project that we're talking about. So it's now a $1.6 million project. It is complex and and feels very important to think about having someone to make sure that we stay on track with that, especially if we want to be done with it before students return for September. Another area that's not as large of a project, but very important is the press box, the Cato Field press box concession stand that has been talked about for a very long time, but is complex and political. And I think having an OPM to help us there, but also help us in terms of our 5-year capital planning, which we talked about last night with the town, but really need to start kind of the fresh cycle of that work. So what is on the agenda tonight is Peregrine Group, which is on the master price agreement. And they are a Rhode Island-based management firm that's very well known across the state. They service public construction projects, including school facilities. I'll share, they are known really in Rhode Island for things like East Providence High School, recently completed Central Falls High School, Barrington Middle School, having these larger modern projects that are done on time and usually under budget. So it's, and again, when making this kind of like vote, or as we'll ask, it's not that to say like we are lockstep and these are the projects and we're going to do this and we're signing on a dotted line. This is about like being able to utilize them in a smaller basis, try it out for something like the roof, and then see how successful and how it works for our community. And I will ultimately hope like that during your vote, Rob and I can have a conversation with you more about this and the importance of it. I also want to quickly highlight key facilities, just very, very quickly, some of them. So for example, we know the roof and the foundation for Hope is on the agenda tonight for that RFP. Also, the fencing repairs at Hope have been completed. We will be working on the generator and emergency power scheduled over April break for the high school, middle school. We also know that I also want to share the vape detectors have been installed as part of ongoing efforts at the high school, and they continue to make sure that they're working properly. And We also have the repair done at the Clayville for the fence that had been damaged during the storm. Also, we know that the gutter that had been damaged at this school is due to be replaced in the spring. And then, as I shared, it is our goal to continue to work on the Cato field, but also have the project manager there to help and assist us through that. And then lastly, I want to make sure to talk about, which is in my report, the ongoing work at Manning Field. We understand, again, this field, it is work that is, it's not like a one and done kind of, it's a daily piece. Of course, we live in New England. The weather does not always cooperate, certainly not in my life, clearly in the last couple months. And so it's not been cooperating at all this spring with Manning Field. We are happy to report that we did have a game there today for the middle school, and we will continue to provide updates for folks as how this is going. We had a letter go out today that went to the high school and the middle school community about it. So I'm grateful for our folks' patience. We met today. We had the athletic director, facilities director, a coach was there. We also, Mike Hassel pulled us all together to make sure that those discussions stay. We know that this continue to happen. We've met there a couple of times, and we'll continue to look at this in terms of a short term and a long term. I don't know that this short term solution, what the work we're doing today, is going to solve this in the long term. And so we're going to need to discuss this in a bigger conversation. I also need to update you on the school calendar. So the school calendar for this school year, the Department of Education, the Council of Elementary and Secondary Ed did approve the 2-day emergency. So our official last day is June 18th. So thank you for voting on that at the last meeting. So we're good with that. And I will make sure in my next update, and the principals will send out that is the formal last date. And then I do want to call out on our recently adopted 26-27, it's my understanding that we are moving primary election from the September 8th to the 9th. And maybe that wasn't true in the news, but if it is, then I will bring that back to you so we can change that calendar. And then just a reminder for the budget, we did have our meeting last night with the town, and Rob will expand on it, but our materials I've linked them off the report for the FY27 budget materials, and we continue to welcome feedback and conversation with respect to that, and also the capital budget planning that we have. And thank you. And I'm going to pass the financial report to Rob.
Hello, good evening. So in your packet, as for the last few months, you've got the school committee report by master object, by account, and then the detail by account. And again, as of this point, we are still projecting a favorable budget to actual variance for this year. So in terms of major activities this period, we received 2 bids. You know, we'd gone out for a bid on the lunch program. We did that because RIDE had been going through some changes and they were late getting theirs out, and we didn't want to be without a lunch provider. The 2 bids we received were one from Whitson's and one from Chartwell's. We're in the process now of gathering an evaluation team of our principals. And I got to say, I sent out an email hoping I'd get a couple folks, but I've got a lot of folks. So this is great. So it's a good problem to have. So we're trying to organize that, and we will have a recommendation. And the choices, right? We have the choices of either Chartwell's or Whitson's, but also written into our RFP. And because RIDE did eventually launch their RFP last month, and their timing, we dragged out our timing and they've accelerated their timing. So now we're on the same calendar. So at the end of the day, we could even opt to go back, right? We still have the right to go back to the state RFP. So anyways, we've got those three options basically. So we'll wait and see. So we'll present that at the May meeting. We should have a recommendation for you. Regarding the fiscal 25 update, we met with the Auditor General on Monday, March 23rd. And our next meeting is now on Wednesday, April 29th. And the fact that we pushed it out beyond that indicates the confidence that the Auditor General has that we will be wrapped up by that point. So that was a good sign that the period between meetings is getting longer and not shorter. We now have really just two remaining items, and they are mostly completed. The first is the reconciliation of the due from the town. And as we mentioned, and with your support at the last meeting, we've engaged CLA or Clifton Larson Associates to perform that. And Clifton Larson CLA is substantially through the process. And I just had an update with them, and we should actually have that done, fingers crossed, this time next week. Unless something comes up, it may slip a little bit, but that's where we're working to be done. Might even be this week, but could be, but most likely next week. And then we have some follow-up work for them to do on fiscal 25, and then to help us with fiscal 26. But once they're done with this reconciliation, that's the last bottleneck to moving forward with the audit. And we've already scheduled the auditor to come in this week to resume field work, which is a good sign that kind of shows the progress that we're making. The other big item, not big, the only other item that we need to wrap up is, we submit a UCOA correction, UCOA file to the state. We had several hundred corrections, which is typical. That's not, the number is not a big deal. And, with the thanks to my assistant, she's processed all of that. She wrapped it up pretty much today. So probably tomorrow, whatever, we'll regenerate the file and submit it to RIDE. So those are the last kind of big things. Then we'll go through the field work. The audit report needs to be generated by the auditor. And then there's some reconciliation between like our UCOA books and the town's books in terms of just aligning the two different accounting practices. But that's it's work to be done, but it's not major, it's not clean. It's just standard steps in this audit process. So we're in good, the long and the short of it is we're in a good place right now with the auditor coming back in for field work, and that we're so close to being done with the reconciliation. We feel we're in good shape. While the general fund is still under review and we haven't finalized our trial balance, but we're pretty confident where we're going to end up, and preliminary results still indicate that we'll end fiscal 25 with a deficit of under $100,000, a little under $100,000. So again, work's still being done. Something could happen as we go through this, and it could change either way, but that's what it's looking like right now. In terms of procurement, the first, as Linda mentioned, the press box and concession stand. So that's again, with your support, we're looking for the OPM to assist us with that, along with other projects. We're kind of bundling it together, but also we've assigned resources. Again, with your support, we have allocated funding and with the and now pardon me, in the capital plan for the press box, and that we have begun development of the RFP. I've been talking to the vendor. I've got another meeting scheduled tomorrow, and we're trying to, again, build an RFP. The next step would be to go out for bid for this. And then once we've got that packaged, and then when the RFP comes down, there'll be some engineering and whatnot, but at least we'll be on the conveyor belt, so to speak, of the project, and it will be a matter of, completing the steps. So we'll actually get this project off the ground. So I feel we're in good shape there. That should happen in in relatively short order. Transportation, uh, uh, we can talk about this a little bit later. I know it's an item on the agenda. We have prepared an RFP and we would like, approval from the school committee. We'll talk about this. But we've got some ideas in terms of how to achieve some savings. We need to achieve some savings in transportation for next year. So we'll discuss that a little later on in the agenda. And then lastly, I haven't really been speaking this. I have it on my report every month, but there've been other major items. But I just wanted to kind of give you an update of where we're at on the finance office's action plan. And we have begun to scrub our data for position control. Position control is a functionality of the system and also procedural control for that kind of ties when we hire somebody to make sure that there's a budgeted position, and it's also kind of the foundation for processes like our onboarding, our posting, and those kind of related. So we've just started doing that. The other item we had was use our accounting system for budget preparation. We actually did do that this year, and we've got the system set up. We use it to generate a detailed line by line budget, and that will make the loading of the fiscal 27 budget once ratified, pretty straightforward process. Obviously, we can refine as we continue to clean data, but that we can check that off. This month, we updated the approval chain, so the principals, and again, we try not to be a black hole. We talk to the principals and folks, but they did have noticed a change in the approval chain. So if a requisition or a budget transfer is input, they by anybody, if I input a budget transfer for funds in a high school, I just out of courtesy, I talk to the principal, but it also gets flagged and it goes to the principal now so that they see what's going on in their budget. Along those lines, as we start to work with and empower the administrators, I've been talking to the Department of Purchases and to Town Hall to summarize the procurement rules. And I've got procurement training prepared. And I'm hoping in the next month now to be able to roll it out, be kind of an asynchronous tool. And in the meantime, we've been taking questions one by one and introducing the different folks on the rules of procurement. So the rest of the stuff I won't go through, but basically we've been kind of cleaning up our processes. And then lastly, I think we had a very good positive meeting with the town's budget committee last night, the town's budget committee. The school committee at the beginning of this period adopted the fiscal 27 budget, both capital and the operating budget. We presented it. And I think that then we're off to a good start as we move forward towards the final approval of the budget. So thank you very much. And that's the summary of our activity this month.
I'll say that the budget meeting last night was so successful that there was, an applause at the end. That's how great you guys did. Mike was here. He was there last night. So yeah, there was applause. So everybody was very pleased with the presentation.
If it was only because the administrators and everybody, they trusted the process and they were patient, and it was really the result of a few months worth of everybody's kind of pulling on the same line. So it was good.
Anyone from the committee have any questions? That brings us to public comment. Does anyone have a public comment? Just to keep the meeting moving, I usually keep a 3-minute rule.
That won't be a problem. Heather Daly, STA president. I wanted to thank you, Erica, for your kind words about our membership. And we definitely set a record for the lateness of our settling, but there are circumstances that couldn't be avoided. We hope we never break that record. But thank you for recognizing the cooperation from our members. And I'd like to thank your committee as well for sticking to it through some tough times. And I think we all ended in that spirit of cooperation. And on behalf of our membership, I wanted to congratulate Linda and welcome you as our new superintendent. I look forward to continuing the collaborative relationship we've been working on the last few months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am very excited to continue to work with you. Thank you.
Richard Finnegan. I went through the parking lot up at the high school. There's several potholes in the parking lot. There is a channel drain that the cover came off in the parking lot in the back in the entrance. So I hope those will be repaired soon. I'd hate to see somebody get hurt, students, staff, or teachers. Press box. Can we have an update on the press box?
Yes. So regarding the press box project, and just to clarify, and again, because it was clarified for me. So the press box project includes locating the pre-purchased concession stand in the appropriate place, and then purchasing a prefabricated press box structure to be fastened on the top and anchored all down in the field so that the structure can overlook the field. Many of us know that, but I'm learning. So anyways, so the the project had kind of suffered from a series of false starts, and what we've done is kind of started with getting our order of operations correct. So in my mind, our order of operations is first the financing, which we did through first budget transfers when we thought we would take the cost of the press box component itself out of the operating budget. But we changed course, and in this process, this last month, we've embedded that into our capital plan, and that has been approved. And so we plan to use our existing capital funds to purchase that. So now we're operating in tandem. The press box structure has a long lead time, so we want to, and that's a fairly stable component of the project. So like we know what we want. So we're building the specs, and we're gonna go out for bid. And in the meantime, in parallel, there's a certain amount of engineering and design work that needs to be done. So we need to like make sure that the soil underneath is firm, right? So we need to think about things that you would normally think about so that we don't end up with a problem a year or 5 years or 10 years from now. So go through the standard engineering steps, make sure the soil's good, have somebody design the proper footing or foundation for it, find out what kind of contractors we need to move it and put it all in place, and have engineering design to do that. So the plan would be to do all of that work while we're ordering and having the press box built, and then have those two come together, hopefully over the summer, right? That it's a reasonable timeline to have that get kind of come together in 10 to 12 weeks, let's say. Again, I don't have quotes yet. We haven't gone out for bid, but that's, I think, reasonable. And then over the summer, do final execution of the project. So the press box would be here, so we would hire the appropriate contractors to actually build the foundation, and the foundation might be sonotubes or slab, I don't know, but build the foundation, move the concession stand, fasten the press box to it, and do all of the other connections, whatever they are. And I don't want to talk out of turn because I'm not a structural engineer, I'm sure, and I don't want to, I'm sure there's more. I'm sure I'm oversimplifying, but basically do all of that work, but at the end of the day, make sure we have a structure that's done right and serves the right purpose. So that's the that's the plan. And if I missed any, if I didn't answer something, let me know and I can fill in some detail if I know it.
Do we think it would be ready for the fall, or are we looking at 27?
No, no,
28?
we're hoping, again, a lot of this is my, my preliminary timeline, but assuming that the delivery is like 12 weeks or so and figure we've got another, 4 or 5 weeks to get a bid done and come back to school committee in May. I'm hoping, I mean, I could be wrong and we're just guessing, but I'm hoping it would be done in this calendar year. So I may be over optimistic to say it'll be done this summer, but I'm hoping in this calendar year.
Superintendent Savastano, I think you said it was political, the press box. What's political about I don't understand. This is the first time I heard that expression when it came to the press box.
I don't mean it in terms of like traditional political use of the word. I just mean in terms of sometimes there's a lot of emotion and feeling and opinion in it. It's not just a black and white project. It's a passionate project. And depending upon who you talk to, it could be very different belief around what should happen. At the end of the day, so not everybody feels the same way. I'm just sharing anecdotally
Oh, I understand.
what has been shared with me. But at the end of the day, it is a project that we are committed to. We have support from a school committee that wants it done, and we believe that it needs to be done for our kids, and we're trying to make sure see it through in a successful way as quickly and efficiently as we can.
And with the owner's project manager, if we do hire one, you think that person will successfully get that project done?
I do.
And were there any other projects that we could have used an owner project manager
In the past,
in the past?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. I'll take it. 'Cause
Thank you.
Again, the
Well, I was just
superintendent
wondering.
can certainly not speak to something for which she wasn't here,
Sure.
but, and I was kind of holding this and I don't want to go too far. There's such a thing as being penny wise and pound foolish. I had to think for a second. I almost said it's getting late, but, and I don't understand to understand the complete, funding and the we could have used a project manager in the past historically and we haven't. And, there coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? But I think it would behoove us to utilize one moving forward. One of the other thing that, Rob did a great job last night at explaining, and I did some backtracking after the fact because we had to go in front of the budget committee, and part of what we had to discuss was the fact, we're going to them looking for monies for our capital budget, and we all know how important that is, right? And how we've changed, we've moved mountains with far as receiving monies back and having this fund evolve. But one of the things, and again, thank you again, Rob, for we had approved projects. There's been a lot of change in this district over the last year. And there were some things that we received monies for, whether it be through bonds or through the capital requests, that were worked into our budget and never executed. And that's the word. And one thing I just keep executed is the word, is all this planning, all this doing is great, but if we're not executing the plan, and again, I did a whole spiel afterwards saying, oh my gosh, we did not do it because we didn't need it. Obviously, there's millions of dollars of repairs that need to be done in this district. But and I'll take it collectively, but it's not, the plan was not executed to do it. There was some shifting. We had some projects that came up. So what we were able to do is looking at what Rob was able to do, and Linda, was shift, looking at our 5-year capital plan, working in, and if I'm misspeaking in any way, please jump in, Rob, was able to take some of those funds that we had already allocated and not used, putting them back into that 5-year plan. You know, and these aren't fluff things. These are, you know, warm, dry, safe and 21st century learning types of things. So yes, and you know, I know there's going to be more about the project manager coming up, but I think it would be penny wise and pound foolish to not do so.
And one other point, I heard that there may be a deficit in the audit. I hope we don't go back to the old days where we have structural deficits at the school. I fought against that for years, and I hate to see us go back to that.
Mr. Finnegan, I have been here the longest, and when I started, we had a structural deficit of almost $1 million.
Correct.
And it has taken us close to 12 years to climb out of that, and through a lot of, so the budget process, I can promise you, you know, and as Rob said, we are not 100% there yet. If there is a deficit, there is a deficit, but by no way, shape or form does this committee, you know, we don't do a lot anymore now with all these changes, but one of the things we do is the budget, right? With the recommendations of the superintendent and our, we don't, our goal is never to operate with a structural deficit. And I know, but we're going back, that was many, many years ago that we operated like that. Would you agree with me on that?
I would, and I hope you don't go back. Thank you.
Hi, Bianca Mancini, Hope Furnace Road. Hold on, I'm not going to talk about the press pass. No, I just want to congratulate you, Linda, in person and welcome you. Obviously, you came in and we grabbed on tight and we really weren't going to let go. So you didn't have much of a choice. But I want to say to the school committee, I really feel on behalf of myself as a parent and a lot of the parents that I talk to that we finally feel heard and we feel like we've asked for things over the past year or so. And I really feel very strongly that you've listened and you've made things happen. So I just want to thank you. It's not always pretty for you to sit there, but I do want to commend you for listening and for really trying to move things forward. And Linda, Rob, I can't say enough about either one of you. It's been incredible to have you here, and I'm excited for where it's going to go. Thank you.
Just an FYI, if they're not happy, you'll hear it too. Just putting it out there. And Bianca will attest to it. But always in, I don't want to think it's all kumbaya. But we have a passionate community, and I thank you for that feedback as well, Bianca.
If there's no one else here in the audience, I don't see any hands raised at home. Does anyone at home want to have anything to say, public comment? I saw Bobby Coletta. Hi, Bobby.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
We got you.
Yes,
Yes, we got you.
Okay, now I just want to say congratulations to Linda and welcome. We are so grateful to have you for sure. And to the committee, I echo Bianca's sentiments. We really do feel heard. I've missed a couple meetings recently, but I was curious with the enrollments for K through for kindergarten and all the way through fifth grade. Really, I know there's a lot of talk. There was a lot of contentious situations in the last couple of years around enrollments, classroom sizes, etc. I think all of you know by this time my son is in first grade at Hope, and it's a very, very big classroom. I know there's more kids coming into that classroom. So are we looking at those classroom sizes any differently now, or I mean, just giving us some line of sight into what to expect for next year? Any commentary around enrollments? Are they going up? That kind of thing.
I think so. I think a question I'm just going to validate that I can hear it, but it sounds like the question is around how the enrollments look for kindergarten, and then considering the plan for Hope, which first I'll share we're gathering the registration now for kindergarten, but the numbers that we see with the preliminary are higher. I will do an enrollment report and share that out with everybody so that you can see like a roll up. It's actually part of the budget. We did a projection, but we can now take a stronger look than just a projection as we consider the registration data, at least as of what it looks like now in April. And then, so I can share that out, but I will say, and it does align with the birth rate. The birth rate for the census for this incoming kindergarten is higher than it was for last year. So our data is aligning with what we see for the birth rate. And I will share, we are still examining Hope, what it looks like for classrooms and plans. We're doing that with the school improvement team, really as required by law, but it's the best way to do it too, with the experts at the table. And we are, this like aligns also with the conversation we're having around looking at that learning community model and how we can consider a more flexible environment, meeting the needs of the students in a, I'm going to just say in a better way, in a stronger way. But it does require us to think a little bit out of the box. I understand most people don't kind of know what I'm talking about when I say this right now. And so I promise at the next meeting, we can bring back some information about what it is that we're looking at for Hope specifically. And then I will share the enrollment information, and I can share that even sooner in my monthly update. And then we can also review it at the next meeting.
Yeah, thank you for that. I just want to ensure that, none of us are caught by surprise. Some of these classrooms are growing. Even some of the classrooms that are not kindergarten are growing. So I definitely appreciate that line of sight into, what's coming. I'm happy to see that the data that the school committee had provided 5 years ago that illustrated the kind of the increase in enrollment going up. I'm happy to see that report that we paid for was accurate and true. And so I'm glad to see the enrollments increasing and classroom sizes getting becoming more full and not but still maintaining that small classroom size that we have grown to love here in Scituate. So thank you guys for that information, and congratulations again, Linda. We are so grateful to have you and to the committee for working so hard to make sure that this was possible. So appreciate you all.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
for your
Bobby.
kind words, and thank you to Bianca as well. I'm grateful for the support that you all make it possible, because you are so smart and thoughtful, and it helps. Just know your feedback is essential to our success. Thank you.
We can move on to the next item, and that is the ride letter for the Hope School roof replacement. Do either Linda or Rob want to speak briefly to that?
This and the next two votes are part of the work that we're doing for the project at the at Hope for the replacement, the 1.6. And I didn't know if Dave wanted to speak to anything too. This did pass through the conversations that we had with the building committee.
So if you have nothing to say, Dave, that's fine. Do I have a motion to approve the ride letter for the Hope School roof replacement?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve the RFP for the Hope roof replacement?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do I have a motion to approve the RFP for the student transportation?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? This is something that Rob had already touched on.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion? I'll take a motion and approve and discussion in case anyone has questions. Do I have a motion to approve the contract for the owner project manager?
Second.
Discussion? Does anyone have any questions about that?
No.
I just want to share, I didn't mention this earlier, that if we bundle this appropriately, so around safety, and we are reimbursed with ride, the OPM is reimbursable as well.
Even better.
That's better. That's better. Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve the Northwest Rhode Island SDC resolution for Johnson School Committee? And then we can talk about it.
I'm so moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Would you like me, I can explain this
bit.
a little? So,
Please.
so we have the, clearly the consortium existed before BL, before Linda, but so it's
Oh, now
Burville.
she's calling me out, which is pointing out to me.
That's what my parents used to say to me, so it's only
The whole world, the whole world.
so Burville, Lincoln, North Smithfield, Cumberland, North Providence, and Scituate are part of a consortium. And so Johnston would like to join the consortium. And the consortium really exists for us to gain efficiencies, to work collaboratively in all areas, technology, special education. So you or not, I don't want to say recently,
Yeah,
but I know there
just
was a
so we didn't-
presentation.
I kind of didn't follow and
Now Johnston wants to join.
So, and I think he may have actually even alluded to that back in the time when he presented to us. And again, a lot of changes going on, a lot of, there's no downside to this, right? To Johnston joining us. And probably with all the moving parts, I don't know, has anybody within our district been able to really enjoy any of the benefits of this yet? I know it just like, it wasn't that long ago that we did this, that
Yeah, I've gone to a meeting.
Okay.
I mean, that they're, folks I've known for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So it's lovely
Yeah.
to have the support, to be able to work together and to be able to talk about, different ways that, so for example, the transportation
That-
conversation that we had.
that was just clicking in my head, because that number was close to around 15,000, you said, correct? Right, just so, was that kind of coinciding with this? I'm sorry, yeah, I'm
Exactly.
jumping all over.
Nope, you're fine.
No,
You're
it's,
perfect.
it's not a one-to-one overlap
Right,
because, but you're on the right track. That's exactly right. Yep.
yeah. that-
Chips are strong, so it's pulling Johnston in here. And that is powerful for us, but it does, the resolution has to go to all the school
Sure.
committees. Thank you.
There's no more discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any announcements? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.